can't really learn to windsurf by watching TV. Ideally, you should go on a course at a recognised centre and then use this programme and the RWA handbook to remind you not just of the techniques, but also of the safety considerations.
The handbook will also give you a deeper insight into many of the more technical aspects of the sport, which we have deliberately missed out in this programme, such as rigging and sailing theory. And don't be put off by the idea of theory. It's not a whole load of nautical mumbo-jumbo delivered by a tedious old boffin, just solid information which only serves to make things clearer.
OK, so now Julie, I'd like you to have a go at this. So if I just lower the rig down, step off, and now it's your turn.
There may seem to be a lot to take in all at once, but remember that on a course, the basics such as getting on, pulling up the rig, turning around and sailing will be learned on a stable and dry land-based simulator.
Marvellous.
By the time you first step aboard for real, you are already semi-proficient and well past the wobbly wreck stage. And because we're missing out these very early steps, beware.
Windsurfing is a sport which looks so dynamic you can easily be seduced into trying to run before you can walk. So take time out to learn the basics, which are going to serve you throughout your windsurfing career. So without further ado, let me hand you over to RWA instructors Ben Broman and Sally Simmons, who are going to lead you through the rest of the programme.
I thought we were making a programme about windsurfing, Ben.
Well, we are, Sally, but learning to juggle is like learning any new skill. It's much better if you break it down into small, simple parts that are easy to achieve. Here, I'll show what I mean with the clubs. 1, 2, 3, thank you. Right, rather than throwing you in at the deep end and giving you all 3, I'll just give you 1 to start. That's it. We have broken this programme down into 4 main sections. The first, Learn to Windsurf, follows the syllabus of a beginner's course, leading you to a basic ability of competent sailing in light winds. Beyond the first section, we're examining the progressions within each skill area. The first shows you how to leave the beach with style. Always struggling against the power of the sail? We're aiming to demonstrate how, with the aid of harness and foot straps, you can be in perfect balance with the rig, feeling right. Improving your tacks and jibes is the aim here, assisted by examples of exercises to prepare and help you. Throughout the programme, we'll be showing you how to keep your head above water with some simple ideas on safety. Right, let's learn to windsurf. An understanding of your equipment is important, especially at this early stage of the sport. Correct equipment choice and preparation is critical to your ability to succeed. In this section, we'll be looking at the type of equipment that will be provided on a beginner's course. First, the board. Starting at the front, the towing eye makes rescues easy should you need a lift back to shore. Further down the deck of the board is the mast track to which the rig will be attached. They are designed to be adjusted when sailing, but most good tracks can be locked in one position whilst learning. Behind the track is the dagger board, a retractable foil which provides stability and reduces the board's sideways drift. The skeg at the back of the board keeps you going in a straight line. The rig is composed of a sail supported along one edge by the mast, tensioned by the mast foot at the base and the boom at its free corner. The top of the sail may be supported by a fiberglass batten. Before sailing, the rig should be tuned to suit your own needs. The boom should be adjusted to shoulder height when the rig is stood upright, and this adjustment is made very easy with a clamp-on boom such as this one. The sail stability is largely controlled by the downhaul, the rope which tensions the bottom of the sail to the mast foot. The gap should be as small as possible. The same rule applies at the outhaul end of the boom, where correct tension and boom length aid control. With your equipment tuned and ready at the water's edge, it's now time to go afloat. The rig should be carried in first by holding the mast and the boom. It's unlikely to float away whilst you return for the board. There are a number of methods of carrying the board. Here, one hand in the mast track and the other on the head of the dagger board enables the board to be carried over any surfaces which might damage it. If it's heavy, get someone to give you a hand. Put the board down in knee-deep water to prevent damaging the skeg. Now the mast foot can be connected to the mast track. The safety leash should be attached first. This will prevent the board and rig separating should the mast foot accidentally release. With the safety leash secure, the two components can be firmly connected. Now ready to mount the board, approach the board from upwind, moving into deeper water, allowing the dagger board to be put down, making the board more stable. Climb onto the middle of the board and, grasping the uphaul rope, check that the wind is still coming from behind you. With your feet either side of the mast foot and your body low, slowly stand up, pulling the sail out of the water. Once clear of the water, you can put your hands onto the mast. This is the secure position. Here, the rig is kept at 90 degrees to the board. Your feet should be a comfortable width apart on the centerline. Your legs should be slightly bent with your hips, knees and ankles loose, your back straight and your head up. To maintain secure position, it's sometimes necessary to maneuver the board. Leaning the rig towards the back of the board will cause the front of the board to turn towards the wind. Leaning the rig to the front of the board will cause the board to turn away. By doing this, you can keep the rig at 90 degrees to the board. If you want to turn right round, the same principles apply. Always turn the front of the board into the wind by leaning the rig back as before. As the board turns, begin to shuffle your feet round the front of the mast and keep inclining the rig. Once again, you'll be back in the secure position, facing in the opposite direction. You can speed up your turn by leaning the rig further away from you. The secure position should always be adopted before attempting to sail away. Now, with an idea of how to balance and control the board, it's time to sail away. Take up the secure position, making sure that the rig is at 90 degrees to the board. Choose a goal point across the wind before moving your feet back behind the mast. The rig is brought to a position of balance and the power put on by resting your backhand on the boom. Having sailed away from the beach towards your crosswind goal point, return to the secure position before turning the board around. Now, pointing back to where you came from, pick a new goal, move the feet, bring the rig across to a position of balance, and off you go. Balance against the pull in the sail by keeping your hips, knees and ankles relaxed and the mast upright. Lean back more to control the power. During your practice, the rig will sometimes fall towards the wind. It's easily recovered by uphauling slowly, pausing halfway, which will turn the board around until the rig is downwind. You can then fully uphaul into secure position. Dropping the rig in gusts becomes very tiring when you have to uphaul each time. To control excessive power, release your backhand off the boom before regaining your balance and sailing on. Respond to the power in the sail by leaning back and keeping your body low. Steering on the move is very similar to the principle when in secure position. To turn the front of the board towards the wind, establish a new goal slightly upwind and incline the rig towards the back of the board. To return to your original goal, the rig is inclined towards the front. Once more, towards the wind, extend the back arm. Away from the wind, extend your front arm. Even to sail in a straight line, you need to steer a little, and you'll certainly need to be able to steer to avoid other sailors. Whew, that was close. In time, sailing across the wind in both directions and steering will become very easy, but practice until you're totally confident before moving on. Returning to the shore need not leave you in a tangled mess halfway up the beach. As you approach daggerboard depth, depower the sail and return to the secure position. Slowly lower the rig into the water before carrying first the board and then the sail ashore.
Nobody likes having to be rescued, and it's important that you know good ways to get yourself out of difficulty. It can be very embarrassing having to be picked up.
Especially by a passing yacht.
Ah, but it does have its advantages.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Keeping yourself out of trouble by following all the safety rules may work most of the time, but there'll always be occasions when it's very useful to know an appropriate method of self-rescue. If the wind dies completely, it is possible to lie the rig on the back of the board and paddle back to shore. This is the butterfly method, great in light winds as long as the mast and boom stay clear of the water. In stronger winds, you can travel across the wind by dragging the end of the boom in the water. This works well over short distances, but soon becomes exhausting. Flagging is a very easy way to make progress downwind. And if none of these methods are likely to succeed, then there's nothing for it but a full self-rescue. And Sally's going for the record. First, release the mast foot and detach the uphaul. Work your way around the edge of the sail to remove any battens. They can be taken out and stored here, down the luff tube. The outhaul can then be released and the sail rolled tightly in towards the mast. With this clamp-on boom, it's necessary to secure the boom end and the sail with the uphaul before releasing the clamp. Secure the sail with the outhaul and swing the assembled rig beneath you. Oh, and she only missed my record by 8 seconds. The full self-rescue does have its limitations, and if you find it isn't working, loosely re-rig the sail to reduce drift and signal for help by waving your arms or even using a day-glow flag. Whatever, stay with your board until rescue arrives. Hey, she's cut up my best pair of shorts.
Now it's time to look at the other directions in which a board can sail and the terms used to describe them. So far you've been sailing across the wind at 90 degrees to it. This is called a beam reach. It is possible to sail closer to the wind up to an angle of 45 degrees on either side. This is sailing close hauled. You can't sail closer to the wind than 45 degrees. If you point your board into this area called the no-go zone, you'll stop. Sailing further away from the wind than a beam reach is called a broad reach. Sailing with the wind behind you is known as a run or running, and it's one of the slowest points of sailing. We'll be looking at each point of sailing in more detail throughout the programme.
So far we've learnt how to sail across the wind. Now let's sail closer to the wind and perform a faster turn called a tack. From a beam reach, pick a new goal point a little further upwind. Watch carefully as Sally inclines the rig back slightly to turn the board towards the new goal. You're now sailing close hauled. As you're going upwind, be prepared to keep steering to maintain your course. Now to tack. Place your front hand on the mast and your front foot in front of the mast before inclining the rig back. Quickly step forwards. Continue to incline the rig until you're in a position to sail off again. And this time, you're immediately close hauled. The tack again, a little quicker. The front hand and foot are positioned as the rig is inclined, and the quicker you can get from one side of the sail to the other, the less time you'll spend in an unstable position. Now you can just sail away and relax. We all know that the quickest route from A to B is a straight line. Well, you can forget that when sailing upwind, as you'd be going straight into the no-go zone. To get to my upwind goal, I have to sail a series of zigzags, close-hauled courses and fast attacks. Fortunately, you won't be stuck inside a television set and may be able to widen your zigzags, possibly sailing to my goal in just 2 legs. It's not the shortest distance, but it is the only way to get there.
To sail downwind, lean the rig forwards to bear away. Move your feet back quickly either side of the dagger board as you pass through a broad reach. You're now on a run. To steer, lean the rig left or right. The board goes in the opposite direction. With the dagger board down, use your weight to help you steer. Press down on the same side of the board you're leaning the sail towards. As the wind gets stronger, stand further back on the board so that you can counterbalance the increased power in the sail. To jibe, let go of the boom with your back hand, step forwards into the secure position, and you're ready to sail away. Now let's see the jibe once again. When you're comfortable on the run, let go of the boom with the back hand, swing the rig to turn the board onto the new beam reach course, and off you go again.
Put together all the skills we have learnt in this section, and you should be able to sail around a course like this in light winds. Make your way upwind by sailing a series of close-hauled courses and tacks to an upwind buoy. Having done that, bear away onto a broad reach towards the next buoy, where you'll have to jibe. Well, that was easy, but I have done it before.
Having been shown the basic techniques, you need time to practice the skills, whatever they might be, and if it all goes wrong and you drop them, don't worry, you pick them up and start again.
The range of equipment available today is vast, and you may well be confused by what some of it's for. I am. Hey, that guy in the yellow coat's nicked my bike!
This is the equipment we've been using so far. It's ideal for learning to windsurf in lighter winds. A big stable board provides a solid platform to stand on, and this soft sail allows you to be very aware of what the wind's actually doing in your rig. Let's have a look at what we're going to use next.
Well, this board is smaller and lighter and has less volume. It makes it much easier to manage in strong winds. Now, the sail is the same size we were using before, but it has 4 full-length battens, which gives it more control and makes it more stable in strong winds. In my dreams, launching's always this easy.
Back to reality, and launching can be easy. We can move on from launching the board and rig separately to launching them together. But try this out when the wind is light and cross shore. You've connected the board and rig. Now fly the rig by placing it across the wind. Balance it on your head if you need to. Lift the back of the board and slide it into the water. Drop the skeg when you're about knee-deep and you're ready to go. To come ashore, let the wind out of the sail and step off to windward. With one hand on the mast, lift the skeg clear and pivot the back of the board around into wind. On the beach, the board should be turned over across the wind to make sure it doesn't get blown away. For longer distances, this is another way of carrying the rig. Keep the mast at 90 degrees to the wind, and do be careful if the beach is busy. With foot straps on the board, you can launch by lifting the board and the rig together and walking into the water. From this position, you don't even have to uphaul. You can go straight into a beach start. To learn to beach start, first get used to handling the rig. Stand in knee-deep water, balance the rig above your head with the board across the wind. Move the board away and towards the wind by steering with the rig. The board pivots around the skeg, and you'll have to walk around to follow it. Turn the board through 360 degrees and the rig will flip. These exercises teach you how to keep the board across the wind so that you can beach start more easily. Put your back foot on the board just behind the dagger board case. The windier it is, the further back you place your foot. Now when you're ready, foot on, straighten your arms and transfer your weight onto your back foot and the boom. Keep your body low as you sail away, especially as it gets windier. To make sure that you keep your body low, try beach starting with one foot dragging in the water. This will help you to control the power in the sail. After a little practice, it gets a lot easier.
Windsurfers tend to attract each other like magnets, and you need to know who has right of way. Here, Sally is on starboard tack, easily remembered because she has her right hand nearest the mast. A board on starboard tack has right of way over a board on port tack. That's me. I must keep out of her way, either by tacking or bearing away behind her. When two boards are on the same tack, the windward board, that's me again, must give way, either by passing astern or heading up. Again, we are both on the same tack, but I'm behind Sally and effectively overtaking. I think she's actually stopped. I must keep clear by passing to one side or the other. My top tip is to keep clear of everybody, especially power-driven craft. However, it's good to know that the basic rule requires them to avoid you. Lucky, really.
Unlikely as it may sound, you don't need the balance of a ballerina to windsurf. You've always got something to hold on to. Okay, so a rig may not be as solid as a rock, but if you can react to the pull of the wind in the sail, you can stay upright. Now, moving your body to cope with movements from the board and the rig is what we call stance. And the chances are, if it feels right and you're relaxed and comfortable, then you'll be sailing better, you'll be going faster, and you'll be able to stay out for longer. Whoa!
Freestyle tricks are an excellent way of improving your stance. But you don't always have to go this far. Useless.
Initially more productive than freestyle, here are a variety of exercises which can develop your mobility and balance. Move your feet up and down the board. Stand on one foot. This certainly develops an awareness of your limitations. Try going as far back down the board as possible, maintaining your balance by leaning forwards onto the boom. This concept becomes very important later on. Finally, an upright balanced rig is very important in any wind conditions. Try these rig balancing exercises in light and strong winds.
As the wind increases, so our stance has to change. Your feet have to go further back on the board to give you more leverage. The rig should be upright, head looking forwards, arms straight and knees bent to absorb the bumps. Move your lower body to cope as the wind increases, feet moving right back as the board begins to plane. Upwind, your head is still looking forwards and the arms are straight. Your body will be more upright and feet as close together as possible.
As you start sailing in stronger winds, you'll probably notice the tendency of your arms to elongate by about 4 inches every time you go sailing. And to prevent them finally being torn out of their sockets, you're going to need to wear a harness.
Most harnesses look something like this, providing they fit well all the way round. They give you good support and are comfortable while you're sailing along. One way to get used to putting your weight into the harness is to practice on the beach first with a friend.
Right, sit down and relax. How does that feel?
Yep, that's good.
By the time you start wearing a harness, you've probably developed enough water confidence to no longer need to wear a buoyancy aid. And remember that the board is always going to provide as much flotation as you need.